Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon, wherever you are in the world, and welcome to the Infinite Way, where spirituality meets humanity. And I am excited to introduce to you our guest today, who is Linda Marsanico, spiritual coach, author, healer. Linda guides others towards a joy filled life through love, compassion, meditation, and stillness. She combines mind, body, and spirit in her work, drawing on practices like Reiki, vortex, and integrated energy. In her inspiring book, The A Train to Sedona, she shares her personal journey of growth, humor, and insight, offering practical strategies for living with greater compassion and purpose. Linda also hosts her weekly radio show, The A Train to Sedona, on Talk Radio New York City, where she explores how spirituality can be woven into everyday life. We're excited to welcome her today to the Infinite Way podcast. So, welcome.
Thank you so much, Enolia. I'm so happy to be with you today.
I'm so excited to have you here. And we were having this wonderful connective conversation right before we came on air. So, I'd like to just kind of continue it. We were talking about the fact that we have just passed through the Lion's Gate and the Lion's Gate energy of this past month. We're in August. And how that energy has been so impactful in so many different ways. And I just wanted to open that kind of up to you of like, what have you been experiencing these past couple of weeks?
I've experienced the need to ground myself. I've been doing a lot more praying, a lot more meditation, a lot more mantra, and I'm using the violet flame, the violet light a lot, and using it as a mantra. I've memorized something, it's very beautiful. I don't want to be blown away by the energy, so I think the groundedness. Uh,
Well, do share your mantra. We'd love to hear it if you don't mind.
So it's, I am my I am presence, and I invoke the full power of the violet flame to transmute core, cause, record, memory, and effect
Mm.
in the thoughts, feelings, actions, and words of humanity in any dimension and any time frame that is less than the perfection and abundance of God.
How beautiful.
So I'm working on myself as well as humanity. And if I have a negative thought, and there have been those thoughts, I bring it in and I feel like it wipes it away. Because
Hmm.
biofilm is very powerful. It just crisps things.
And this is really important because during Lionsgate, it brings up all of the work that you have not dealt with, that you have been like putting aside, going, I'll get there, or I know I have to do my work, whatever that means. But that baggage that we're carrying, that,
Mhm.
oh, how would you say it? The load that you won't let go of, and you need to,
Well,
and
I can,
you need to.
yes, I have had certain realizations that I'm really working on self-love right now.
Hmm.
A whole lot of self-love. I'm at a different perspective, and I realize I've been trying to do too much, take on another project when I have the show, my clients. And a friend said to me, Linda, do you have enough time? And I realized as I was working on this project, I couldn't get creative thoughts. Nothing was clicking. And I realized that's not very kind. I'm not showing self-love. This is
Right.
enough. I don't have to constantly push myself. You talked about grace and ease before we got on. This is
Hmm.
Kuan Yin's favorite phrase. Go through life with grace and ease, dance, create your energy through laughter and joy and fun. So I've slowed down and I
Hmm.
have enough to keep me busy. I'm reading. Later, I'm going to the movies to see a silly film
Uh-huh.
and I'm socializing more.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. And I was going to bring up the fact that, people's things are bubbling up. And me being a medicine woman shaman, I've been working a lot with a great deal of helping people to release and helping people to clear some of those things. And in understanding that that's coming up, I guess I just want to share to the audience, let it go. If it's coming up for you, allow it to just fall away.
Yeah.
It's okay. Some people have been talking about being tired and exhausted. Well, then slow down.
Yes.
Some
We,
people have been having emotional outbursts, then stop holding it back and let it go and let it out.
mhm.
Whatever that inclination is that would have you do the release that you need to do, allow it to flow and allow it to happen, you know? And if you're not feeling it, but you kind of know that things are happening around you, hold space for someone who needs it, you know? That's okay.
The way to grow, the way that we need to work is there in front of us.
Yes.
And so being spiritual warriors or spiritual goddesses, gods, it takes courage to dig in, to reach in. I don't mean dig in, I mean to ask the questions, to go to the core of love within us. It takes dealing with things that are not so pleasant so that we can let that go. We have to acknowledge them first.
Yes, and you talked about self-love, and it's so funny because a dear friend of mine, we have this, group where we're always talking about the etymology of words. And one of the words that she brought up was selfish. And
Mhm.
selfish means self, to take care of self, and the selfish portion of how that is actually self-care. And we've
Yes.
actually made selfish a dirty word with the intention behind it. Oh, you're selfish. Well, it's only all about you. But in the basis of where the word comes from, the etymology of it, and why it's in place was to actually be about self-care, to be selfish, to be self-love, to take care of oneself. And so, I love the fact that she said, well, does this mean that we should, does this mean that it's negative? And it's like, it's the intention behind it. It's the intention that we have behind any of our words, right? The power of words.
Mhm.
So to be selfish, to be self-care, to take care of self in that regard of just honoring oneself is
Mhm.
not a negative thing. It's
I
not
think
selfish.
it's very positive, especially for us women. Many of us are raised to take care of others. And
Yes.
I see it as a spiritual truism to say, compassion for self first. And that may mean setting boundaries, saying no, being assertive. And I think assertion and compassion go hand in hand. Because
Yes.
in order for me to know myself, I need to know what I need. And some years ago, and this is in the book, I developed some questions. So I have to decide upon something. Do I wish to? Do I want to? Can I emotionally and financially afford to? And when I hold that yes or no in my heart, does it have integrity for me? And is it consistent with the person I wish to become? So then through that, I can learn what I truly am able to do, what I wish to and want to do.
Mm,
And sometimes with assertion, well, when I think of assertion, I think getting my needs met while respecting the rights of others.
right.
Now I may ask, and so when I ask, I put it out there. My friends know who I am. The world knows who I am. It's been said. I may not get what I want, but I've said it and I know myself more. Now, sometimes we don't get what we want.
That's true.
And so we need to, sometimes when I don't have anyone to go to dinner with, I take myself out to dinner. Sometimes I work on the younger self, the children within, and give them what they need. And that's a lot of the work. So putting ourselves first is, I think, necessary so that we do not become depleted and resentful. With assertion, anger is diffused because we're saying things in bits and pieces. And so it
Yeah.
doesn't build up.
And I want to go two places with that. First of all, what is the tendency that we have to do when we're not doing what you just shared is we tend to martyr ourselves. We
Mm,
tend to believe that, oh, I'm showing how much I care because I'm doing it at the detriment of myself. Okay. And that's not what we're talking about because you do anything at the detriment of your own care, you're not serving anybody. You're not doing anybody a favor. So you shouldn't be doing anything at the detriment of yourself. You should be doing it in balance with what you can offer and what you can receive. But the other piece that I wanted to do is tell us a little bit more about your work, your book. Let's start off with your book, The A Train to Sedona, right?
So it was in around the time of 9/11
Hmm.
that I was looking for something, and I was looking for a spiritual group. And once 9/11 happened,
Hmm.
I felt bereft. And I wanted to be, so I joined a local major food co-op, which had 16,000 members, in order to be with other people, collaborative, and for a purpose. And that helped a lot. And then I joined the group. It was just about the week after I had done some research, and it was with a clairvoyant healer. And I went to weekly meditations. I saw her for healings for a period of about 7 to 8 years. But in the beginning of it, I was listening to people talk about things I had no clue about. I was going for the healings, I was growing, I would go to retreats, and that's when I learned about Sedona. Everybody knew about Sedona. This is the first time I heard about it.
Uh,
So I thought, look at this experience that I'm having. It's so wonderful. I want to share the experience. I'm going to write a book. So I started writing the book. I was going to Sedona. I owned a home, which I owned for 13 years. And I wrote in the beautiful energy. I would come home and here to New York and continue to write. And I submitted some of the work to my first editor. She said, you have to have a website and you have to blog. No way. No way do I want to do that. It's too much. So I submitted the book. No one was interested in the book. So, gotta get a website to start some blogging. I have over 200 essays on the blog at this point. So before I decided about the blog, it took me about 6 months to decide what perspective I would have. It's going to be spiritual, but how? And I thought it's got to be about love and compassion. Because when we're loving and compassionate, we're spiritual, whether we know it or not. It takes a lot of work to get there. You,
yes.
you know, the Beatles have a song, All You Need Is Love. All you
Yes.
need is love. And so in the song, you have all these complex messages and music. It's swaying all over the place. We have musicians that we all know they're playing. And what I interpret that to be is that the title, All You Need Is Love, is very simple. But what comes into it, the music behind it, it's very intricate. And so the journey is the journey that I wanted to present in the book, my
Mm.
failures. And I wanted to read my favorite story from the book, if I might.
Yes. Go ahead, please do.
So I lived in a condo with 3 floors. Above me was a family with a new baby. One day I found their stroller parked by my door. I asked them to place the stroller in the outer vestibule or up 6 steps on a landing out of the range of my doorway. It was literally, as I opened my door, 3 feet from the door.
Okay.
And I was just very sensitive to it. But anyway, they refused. For months, we went back and forth, exchanging conflictual words. This is, of course, one of my failures. I spoke with the father, the mother, who did not wish to discuss this. Of course, she was busy being a new parent. So the tension in the building was thick and the energy was heavy with no resolution in sight. I went on for a while and I was very unhappy. I'm sure they were very unhappy. In retrospect, I could have volunteered to fold and move the stroller myself, but in my rigidity, regrettably, I didn't offer. So with no more discussion and a stalemate, time passed. And I think an angel must have whispered in my ear. I decided to focus on love, reciting I am a bodhisattva, which is a person who is on the path of awakening.
Yes.
So here I am working to create this sensibility. As I entered the building to see the stroller, I held love rather than anger around this impasse. And I repeated, coming back from work, coming out of the apartment, I am a bodhisattva. I am a bodhisattva. One day I came home and the stroller was gone. It had been moved, and the baby buggy was never again placed in front of my doorway. Now, my interpretation is the power of love is unmistakable. And my love vibration was communicated to Mary. Now, we each forgave the other and became friends until she moved.
Mhm.
This is, as I said, my favorite story of my
Yeah.
failure, which I was able to shift, luckily, by listening to my angels. So I talk about choosing love over fear in the book, and we
Hmm.
have many opportunities to do that because the third dimension is filled with a lot of fear and anger. The
Yes.
ego is third dimensional, but spiritually, love is all there is. So it is really our task to look at what we need to, as you said before the broadcast, to let go of things. We can work with grieving, journaling, talking with friends, seeing a professional person. And so we can decide because compassion is an everyday experience and we have encounters with people all the time. And so I encounter somebody, I don't like what I'm feeling. Rather than blame the other person,
Hmm.
ask myself, what does this say about me? What can I learn here? And that's the work, really, to look within and to find the core of love within us. And we have these opportunities all the time. So we fail. We and we know that universe is going to send them again and again, not to punish us, but to help us
Right.
grow. As
Right.
we fail, we pick ourselves up, brush ourselves off. There's no judgment, and we wait for the next adventure.
And I love what you shared, and I love that story because what you are saying is let the love that's already within you amplify.
Mhm.
See, we have this human experience, and a lot of times what we do is we allow the happenings of that human experience dictate to us how we should feel because of the way that it comes at us. Okay. And so when hatred is projected onto you and you want to what respond in kind, you know, but what you're sharing is that when you respond with love and you respond in kind with love, one vibration does not meet the other. One has to rise to the other, right? So when that negativity has to rise to the other and you both meet at a place that is a higher level by which where you started out or the sentiment of the disagreement, I mean, how can you go wrong? Because then you're transcending the anger in it, the
Interesting.
negativity in it, and you're
Yes.
just coming to a place where you know um for highest grade of good of all, we resolve this. And
Yes.
really, what problem hasn't been resolved that way? Mm.
True. I mean, I had to get out of my anger of that baby buggy blocking my view. And once I could do that, after time of praying and wondering and feeling that negative energy
Hmm.
in the building, I thank goodness for my angels to come in and I was ready. So that I learned, uh, that's quite a number of years ago, I learned to really work on the anger and to look beyond it.
Hmm.
That not everything can be as I would want it to be, and people have their own perspectives. It's not
Right.
only my perspective.
Right. And imagine if we all did that, what kind of world would we actually live in then? Yeah.
I'm an optimist, Enolia, and I think we're going to be moving in that direction.
I'm an optimist also, and I just know that what I feel like we're doing right now is we're going through mid transition. I equate it because I'm a mathematician, right? I equate it to a fractal. When a fractal
Ah,
breaks off, right? What you have is the disharmony before it harmonizes to something recognizable that you
mm,
know is in flow with the rest and replicates the beauty of the rest of its origin, right? So I just feel like we're actually in that reharmonization of what the world can be.
mm,
And when you're going through it, you feel all of the intensity of the break.
yeah,
You feel the intensity of the I'm not where I'm supposed to be yet. It's disharmony. It's disharmony. But we get there and we
yeah,
flow into it. And before we know it, we're organized and we're right back in. We're right back in that beautiful replication of beauty and love that we started from. So that's my take on it. You
Yeah,
know?
there are lots of groups throughout the world working on harmonizing the planet
Yeah.
and the connectedness of all. One of the intentions, the tips in my book is faith and the knowledge that we are all connected.
Hmm.
And it's really quite a beautiful thing to feel connected and not alone. And as I pray and as I meditate with a group that I am with, uh, knowing that the energy is going out there,
Yeah.
feeling, we're all feeling it. And it's, I think, happening from a grassroots level.
Yeah.
It's coming up from the
So
grass.
so overall, is your book just a collection of works and stories, or just tell us a little bit more overall the flow of your book?
I talk about lots of different things in the book. It's kind of complicated. I don't
Okay.
um, so in one, so I have reflections at the end of every chapter. So
Okay.
I have in chapter 3, clearing the tracks. Become aware of the cultural beliefs that no longer serve you and dissolve them in the light. So
Beautiful.
I write that shining the light on my life brings me to my childhood where I was angry with my parents. And so I had to work through the anger that I felt. And this took years, really, of counseling and not wanting to be angry and realizing. So in letting go and forgiving and seeing my parents, and of course, this is all karmic. I chose all of this, right?
Yes.
Seeing them as beautiful spirits who've allowed me to grow in this way. So I know a bit of being ignored. I know a bit of being jealous. I know many of the feelings that are out there in the third dimension. And I've
Mm,
had to work them through. And so it gives me a lot of understanding of what people experience.
okay. Okay.
Um, I have, let's see.
Will you share with us your stories? Share with us your story of how you achieved your spiritual path. What has it always been? Were you raised in a home that was spiritual already, so therefore it's
No.
a natural extension? Or, some of us had to find our way, to that which we practice and that which brings out the best of who we are now. And so share with us a little bit about your story.
So I grew up in a very loving home.
Hmm.
I am the oldest of four. I saw my father and mother. Uh, my father cooked. He was a very loving husband. And he had come back from Iwo Jima, and my mother said he was never the same.
Okay.
My brother and I, now my brother is not very metaphysical, so my brother said to me, "What do you think?" So I'm going to tell you, my father was in a boat, and the boat was going to the shore at Iwo Jima, and his stomach was so sensitive that he couldn't wait to get to the shore where he could have been killed. So he gets on shore, he steps this far from a mine.
Mm,
And so I said to my brother, "What do you think we were doing when Dad was on the shore at Iwo Jima?" He said, "We were telling him where to walk."
okay.
So anyway, he came back luckily and had, not luckily, by de decision, really, Um, and I went to parochial school. I I felt uh, as I said, I felt overlooked. So in senior year, I'm dating somebody much older. We're having unprotected sex. I get pregnant. I get kicked out of school. I came home to a family that was embarrassed and ashamed beyond belief at a
Mhm.
time when this was a scandal. So I internalized all of their shame, their depression, and I had to work through all of this. And this is in a chapter in a book that Sarah Jane has put together. This is not
Okay.
in my book. This is I didn't become selfish. I became harder to manipulate. I I had all these feelings I had to work through, which was quite something. And it took years to do it. But
Okay.
after doing it, I counted my blessings that I could have such an understanding with my clients, having experienced um, despair and loneliness and all of these very deep feelings. And I worked in the present moment. I do work in the present moment. I do many things. I let go. I know what my thoughts are. I look at my uh, habitual behavioral responses, and
Right.
I work to be as loving and compassionate as I can be in the present moment, understanding the influences of my childhood, but not dwelling there. So I've come to be at peace with my childhood.
Hmm.
I have a wonderful son. He and his wife gave me two children. I have grandchildren. And then I wanted to have other children. So I went to school. I became a psychologist. And I consider this a blessing that I can uh, be as compassionate as I am uh,
Right.
with others. Um, so choosing love over fear and anger is a big thing for me.
Hmm.
It's something that and choosing to be compassionate as an everyday experience. Um, so what else about my childhood? Um, yeah, I think that pretty much sums up. The book is more richly describing all of this, of course.
Right, right, right. And so how did you come upon your first spiritual endeavor in the midst of all of this?
My sister gave me a book on yoga,
Okay.
and I'm sitting on the floor of my living room, and I closed my eyes, and I thought, I am connected. I saw universe in my third eye. I said, I am connected. I am connected to everyone. God is within me. I am within God. This is the most important moment of my life. And I then searched for a spiritual person to to guide me, and that's what brought me to the group that I was part of for eight
Mm.
years, and that took me to Sedona. Now, my upbringing was very dogmatic, uh, and um, I I was thirsty for something beyond that. I wanted something. I was ready. I think we know these things when we're little,
Hmm.
when we're half asleep, and it takes something. And then plus, prior to that, there had been a very gifted clairvoyant whom I met, and he said to me, "Your your father is not well." I said, he's making choices. I said, it's his brother is making. I thought there was no God at that point. I looked around the world and I said, if the world looks like this, there can't be a God.
Hmm.
And so he brought me back to faith.
Okay.
He said, it's your uncle. He's deciding what to do. And through his clairvoyance, I became faithful again.
Hmm.
I believed him. His energy was beautiful energy. And so that he started me on the path to knowing I wanted to be closer to God
Okay.
in a way that meant something to me.
Okay. Okay, that's beautiful. So you mentioned in your introduction that you have vortex. That was of interest, and I know Reiki. So
Mm-hmm.
why don't you talk about some of your practitioner services that you share and that you are a part of?
So many people know about Reiki. It's universal energy. It's a
Yeah.
beautiful, gentle energy that comes in. I use Dr. Ursi from Japan, his protocol, and I use it with clients. I use the vortex, which is from Merlin,
Hmm.
and it's 49 different ways. And it really goes to where you want it, where it is needed in the body.
Okay.
And I use the integrated energy of the angels, which has a purpose of understanding where threat comes in over here, fear
Okay.
comes in at the base of the spine. And at times when I'm working with clients, I can see them touching themselves in a way that gives me a clue to some unconscious sentiment.
Okay.
And so I bring it up. It gives me, were you feeling something threatening that's here? If it's on the left side near the kidneys, it's powerlessness. If it's on the right side near the kidneys, it's anger. And
Mm,
so it's really very, very helpful. Brings the unconscious right to the room. And
okay.
so I will ask them, sometimes they'll lie down, we'll turn off the screen and they'll lie down and I'll send the energy. I invoke the Reiki, the
Hmm.
vortex, and the integrated energy and let it flow. And it's lovely. They feel relaxed and um, it's of great benefit, I think.
Beautiful. And so we'll definitely make sure that everyone gets your information at the end of the podcast so that they can reach out to you and engage you in this beautiful work. So as the practitioner that you are also an orator. Okay. You are also that person that engages in speaking, you're podcasting. I mean, that's a
Yeah.
talent, that's a gift that
Thank you.
everybody does not enjoy doing it. Everybody's not an orator. Everybody does not enjoy, interviewing. Those are skills that are not only just attained, but you definitely have to master them to really engage an audience the right way, and you do it beautifully. I've been on your podcast, The A Train to Sedona, of which I was very, very grateful. Much gratitude to you for inviting me. And tell us about how you graduated into the oration aspects of what you do.
So I was told, I've seen a number of clairvoyants. I
Okay.
was told that when I was born with something around, some energy around my throat.
Okay.
So I'm the oldest of four.
Mm-hmm.
I'm quiet, and I became the observer. Then I become a clinician. And what does a clinician do? She listens. So I started to get itchy, which was another reason for me to write the book. I
Okay.
wanted my voice to be heard. And the clairvoyant had said, as you do the work, even with the clients as a psychologist, you are getting your voice heard. But I wanted it to be heard in a more direct way.
Mm-hmm.
So I wrote the book. Eventually, it became published. And I had said out loud in my apartment, I'd like to be on the radio. 3 days later, my publisher calls me and says, she, what did she say? Can you speak? I have an opportunity. And she asked me, she said, I spoke to Sam Leibowitz. He's the founder and executive producer of Talk Radio New York City. He wants someone to head a spiritual show. Are you interested? So I spoke to Sam, and my first broadcast was October 23, 2024. And he said to me, Linda, you're going to be terrible at the beginning. And I thought to myself, not too terrible. And I I watched myself a couple of times, and he had said, watch your endings and beginnings. I'm sure they were choppy. And then I watched myself and learned, a picture, a video is like 10,000 words, or I don't know, maybe
Yes.
a million words. And I learned from people, and the idea for the A Train to Sedona is to share the work of people who can expand the listener's view of their mind, body, spirit, wisdom.
Okay.
to say, well, this person is doing transformational coaching. The first woman I had on was a medium from Quebec.
Uh-huh.
She was lovely. She had just written a book. I have many coaches. I had a lovely uh, clairvoyant healer who goes into the blocks behind things that we don't know about. And her energy was just so sweet and kind. And next week I'm having Hugh Massey. He's a man who at 12 lost his father, and
Mm,
he started a group called Boys Without Fathers.
okay.
And we connect on love and compassion. Some time ago, I had Deepak Saini, and he's a coach, and a lot of Canadians. Um, and I had him back again to talk about the fact that he wants to be a centenarian. So I want to live to that age and more. So we talked
Uh-huh.
about what we do, to have good health. And I had a wonderful gal from Patty Hoyt from Hawaii. And the night before she texted me, she said, Linda, there, and I didn't get it until the morning. We have a tsunami warning. I don't know what I'm going to be doing in the morning. So I prepared a solo show. And 40 minutes before we were about to go on, she texted me, I'm on, I'm there. And I celebrated that. I said, you are quite something that you can get from uh, your experience. She was packing up clothes to leave and be able to do your show. And I thought, wow, I was going to go on to, I wasn't going to have a recorded episode. I was going to do a solo. Another wonderful guest was Anne Mortifee, who has the Order of Canada. She's a gifted singer. She's um, a very spiritual woman who lives life. She was a singer at 19. She went to Broadway,
Hmm.
and they wanted her to do Promises, Promises.
Hmm.
And she said, I can't sing that for two, I can do it for 6 months. I can't sing that song for more than that. Is that if you don't do it for 2 years, you'll never work on Broadway again. And she said, no. She went back to Canada and she had offers of beautiful projects within Canada. She
Beautiful.
lives from her heart. And we resonated so. Um, so these are to inspire the audience. I really want to inspire my audiences to have hope. Um, I have just, there have been many, many. I don't know if you want to hear more about my shows, but it's been a learning experience because I often find myself saying, one guest says this and one guest says that, because really they're experts.
They are experts, and that's the beauty about being a podcaster. Is you meet so many phenomenal people who
Mhm.
bring such a plethora of skills to the table if you're like me, I'm a generalist. I love learning about everybody and everything. I don't
Mhm.
have like a single focus where I only want to really hear about this. No, to me that would be, I'm sorry, it would be boring. I like learning about everybody and how one can complement the other or how one takes a different viewpoint of the same exact thing,
Yes,
approaches it completely a different way, because
yes.
then it allows me to have a broader perspective on
Mhm.
what's being shared. Yeah.
Absolutely. We learned so much. I wanted to read a reflection for you at the end of
Okay.
every chapter. So what I didn't tell you was that when I wrote the book, it was very technical. And that's why people didn't like it. The publishers didn't like it. And I met Jared Rosen. He was also on my show. He's a
Okay.
book whisperer. He said, Linda, you have to tell stories. And after every chapter, I want a reflection. So I want to share this reflection with you.
Okay.
Living in love is quite an achievement as well as a prize. I feel light when I'm in love with myself, with my family and friends, with my writing, with my work, with clients. The day is brighter. even if it's raining when I'm living in love. The glass is half full. People smile at me. I hear the birds. This reminds me of a blog I wrote. I came out of the gym after a workout one summer day several years ago. Remember that the gym is air conditioned, and the heat of the summer air smacked against my body like a turbulent beach wave. It was 80 degrees at 8 a.m. Instead of bracing myself against the heat, I moved through it. I felt as though my molecules expanded to allow my passage. I crossed the street and came upon a bird perched in a tree singing. This was a beautiful song that I would have missed had I been distracted by my irritation at the heat wave. I was filled with joy hearing the music, and it carried me further into the morning. I am uplifted by love and joy. You can be moved too. The energy of love surrounded me, and it's a wonderful way to begin the adventure of a new day, a new opportunity to flow with this awesome energy.
Very nice.
And there was another story I told, and I'm right near Prospect Park in Brooklyn.
Yes.
And I used to go in with my headphones, moving to the music, running. I was running half an hour at the time. And I heard telepathically, leave the buds at home. It was actually a Walkman or more primitive,
Yeah.
leave the music at home. Because universe wanted me to be in the moment, seeing the beauty of nature, hearing the birds, seeing the squirrels. Have you ever seen them? They're like poetry in motion. Skip,
Yes, I have. And
smell,
they have personalities and everything.
the different colors.
Exactly.
And so I do that now. And on Sunday mornings, I walk with a group and we talk, and I'm in the beauty of the park.
And so, really, what you're sharing with me that I'm extrapolating from all of this is the very many dimensions of love by which you're able to see, participate in, hear the stories from, and embody.
Yes. Love is all around us. And as you mentioned before, we need to pull it up. It's there. We are the light of God,
Hmm.
and we need to remember that. It's one of my mantras. I am loved, I am calm, and I am the light of God. And we are all the same and so uniquely different. We talk about where spirituality and humanity meet. We just need to reach in, reach up. I used to think, and I really don't know, that Creator speaks to me from here, but perhaps uh, I'm spoken to from every electron in my body.
Yes.
Not just from the crown chakra.
Not just from the crown chakra.
You
I
know?
actually feel like we walk around in God's light.
Yeah.
So if I were to walk around and the light just shined and beamed on me, everywhere I walked, it just followed me. That's how I like to think about it,
It's a beautiful way to think of it.
Yeah,
It's love.
because, you know, when we're at our best, we not only just are walking in the light, we amplify it. To
Yeah.
me, it's like we amplify that which we are, and we are one.
Hmm.
So it's so beautiful. And, we could continue talking about this forever. I love talking to you. We're coming up on an hour. But one question I had for you is that does Sedona hold a special place in your heart? And did something take place in Sedona? Because I noticed that your book is named that, your podcast is named that. You were talking about the discovery of Sedona. Does Sedona hold a special place in your heart where something happened or?
I owe my spirituality, um, the effervescence of my spirituality to Sedona. Um, the energy, and now a lot of people go and they don't feel anything. The
Hmm.
energy feels like you're smoking marijuana.
Hmm.
I must tell you.
Yes, because it's a high. There's a high there
Huh.
that if you're tuned into it, especially with the vortexes that are there and the various places when you can hike and climb, go
Yes.
from the corner of a beautiful, beautiful mountain pass and just like be blown away. But
Absolutely. So there was one time I had gone to Bell Rock. The two that I used to go to most often were Bell Rock and Airport. And I have to tell you a story about Airport. So let me just say that one day, two stories. One day, um, I had come off of Bell Rock
mhm.
and I opened the car window to get ready to drive, and my glasses, I don't remember where they were, whether they were here or on my eyes like this. They came off me and they go like this and they fall to the ground outside.
Okay.
And that was for me to remember I was getting in a car and I needed to ground myself. So the other story, and I hope we have time to tell it, I had been on,
Yes, we do. We do.
have a group. We're going to Sedona and there's a drought. And we heard stories of the coyotes coming in and eating cats and dogs. They were starving. So anyway, we're at airport and it's dusk. The leader, Anita, is conducting the meditation. We're sitting on our pads and I hear what I think in my mind are people rowdying, making loud noises, partying. And I think, oh my goodness, they're drinking and carrying on. It's the coyotes that are getting ready to attack us. So all of a sudden, I hear her say, let's go now. We grab our things, we get to the car, and the next day, a Native American said to Anita, who knew nothing of our physically being there, he said, you were almost dinner last night. So it's a wild place. It has a deep place in my heart. I let go of so much through my meditating and writing, journaling,
Yeah.
We walked, we talked, we ate good food in that energy of Sedona. It was my birthing. I mean, I in the on the floor of my living room was the first awakening, but it seemed to just flower in Sedona. It will always have a special place in my heart. It's it was voted the most beautiful place in the world some years ago. It's the red rocks are, it's the energy too that is.
Yeah.
I mean, I wrote the book and I was typing on my other laptop, and somebody said, "I feel that energy," you know. And so I really wrote the book to share my story, to have my voice be heard, and to share my journey. Because there are very intricate things that I share in here, little tips and strategies, so that other people's journey will be more direct and powerful. And that's why I wrote it. My heart is in the book.
I love this. Oh my goodness, so beautiful, so beautiful. And I want to reserve the right to invite you back and to continue talking to us. I
Please.
absolutely love it. And just, is there anything that you want to leave our audience with? Any tidbits or anything that you want to share with this audience right here and now?
That compassion is an everyday experience. Our spiritual journey is all about us. And reaching into the compassionate heart segues into our highest potentials. That the journey is within, shift from love to fear, rather from fear to love, and be joyful and hopeful. That this is an adventure. And when we can shift from fear to love, we can see this as a journey, an adventure, that and that we're not alone. There are lots of people to connect with, prayerful people, people to go to for counsel, and of course, angels who whisper in my ear all the time.
I love it. How can people reach you and where can people get your book?
My website is lindamarsanico.com, and I have buy the book page, and they can get it directly from me and get a signed copy, or they could go to the usual Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Walmart to get it regular, or bookstores. They all can order the book.
Okay.
And I have a free gift on my website on the contact page. It's an earth sky meditation that comes from Sedona, where we bring in the energy of Father Sky
Mhm.
and bring it up from Mother Earth, commingle the energies. Because when we think of Mother, Father, God, we think of Mother having the love aspect and Father having a another aspect, a masculine aspect that brings it together. So it's a wonderful thing to commingle
Yeah.
those beautiful energies of Father Sky and Mother Earth.
Okay. And then we'll also gather that information and have that down in the description here after your bio so that when people listen to this episode that they'll be able to reach out to you if they choose to. I just want to say thank you. Thank you for what you bring. Thank you for what you give to humanity. And your words are powerful. And your contribution in your writings is just so beautiful. And please don't stop. It is so needed and so necessary at this moment, this time, and in this space. So thank you for what you bring.
Thank you for inviting me. Thank you for listening and sharing and having my voice be heard. Thank you, Enolia.
You're so welcome. So if you like what you heard, please, please, please do subscribe. Please share this with someone who needs to hear these words. They are powerful and they are so needed in a time when peace and calm need to be sought
Yes.
and beauty needs to be sought. So, like us, subscribe to us, come back and look for more of Linda. And this has been another episode of The Infinite Way, where spirituality meets humanity. I am Dr. Enolia, your host, and we look forward to seeing you next time on The Infinite Way. Take care, everyone. Bye bye.